Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And before we get started today, I just want to thank every single one of you all. I did leave a community post yesterday kind of explaining why this video is so late, and you know what, I just appreciate every single one of you all. You all have no idea how much it means to me to have your all support. Just absolutely thank you. You all are truly awesome. With that said, I still plan to give you all gaming news on a daily basis, and we do have plenty of things to talk about today. In fact, it looks like Xbox hasn't even gotten started this generation, as it looks like they have a ton planned going forward. So we will talk about that today. Plus, Metroid Dread has gotten off to a very fast start. I know there's been a lot of talk about Metroid Dread and whether or not it will be the best-selling entry in the entire franchise. And well, yeah, it's definitely gotten off to a fast start, so we will talk about that one as well. To start this video off, though, we're going to be talking about Back 4 Blood, as reviews are starting to roll out now. It currently sits at a 79 overall score on Metacritic, and it's being painted as an excellent overall cooperative game. Now, some of the negative reviews in this game kind of irritates me, though, just because some people were kind of complaining that this isn't a good single-player game, which I thought was fairly obvious before it actually released. This game was always focused and advertised as a cooperative-style game, and I've always been in favor of not every game needs single-player, just as not every game needs multiplayer. I think that as long as you're good at what you try to be good at, you know, that's what you really need to be focusing on. I don't know, I just feel like some people treat single-player games as the be-all, end-all, and I think we need to kind of realize that there's other types of games out there, and it's okay if you want to focus on cooperative gameplay rather than single player. That's just kind of my take on it. Maybe you feel different, and that's perfectly fine as well. But from what I've been seeing, if you do like Left 4 Dead as a cooperative style game, you're probably going to like Back 4 Blood. This game very much is inspired by Left 4 Dead, and one of the coolest things about this release is that it's actually launching directly into Xbox Game Pass. So do keep that in mind if you are subscribed. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the Yakuza franchise. Now, this is kind of a good news, bad news type of situation here, but for a little while now, there has been a rumor going around that the Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagoshi is leaving Sega. And well, that's now actually been confirmed that yes, he is actually leaving Sega, as well as the series producer. So that is unfortunate, and it does leave a little bit more of a bleak outlook on the Yakuza franchise going forward, because, you know, they do just such a fantastic job with this franchise. But at the same time, I do think that they have enough talent over there that I think that this franchise is still going to be in good hands. I really do believe that, but of course, we're going to have to wait and see how all of this works out with the next Yakuza game. And while that's actually the good news here, because it's also been revealed that a sequel to last year's Yakuza Like a Dragon is in development and will continue the story of Ichiban Kasuga. It also sounds like this game is not too far away either, because if you actually check out what they say here, they say, whether it's 6 months or 1 year from now, I hope to show you a new Ryu Ga Gotoka title by a new Ryu Ga Gotoka studio that is different but still the same. And something that will spark a feeling of this is what we are waiting for within you. So it does sound like this game might actually come out in the next year or so, and well, if you do like the Yakuza franchise, that's definitely very welcome news. I know myself, I'm definitely a big Yakuza fan, and well, Yakuza Like a Dragon was a really good entry. So it does sound like we're not going to have to wait too long to see the sequel and what this franchise is going to look like going forward without the Yakuza creator and producer. Let's go ahead and talk about Xbox here for a moment, though, because this sounds like they haven't even gotten started with their first-party studios yet. Now, we know that they've been making acquisitions a lot in the last couple years, and it sounds like it's really going to start to pay off this generation. Now, this is something that I've talked about in the past, but I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Xbox. They're underestimating just how much they're going to really improve this generation, because they now have a lot of talent. I mean, if you start to look at things, they have 23 studios, and a lot of these studios are working on multiple games. And this is something that I have pointed out in the past. I think some people out there are just not used to Xbox having a lot of first-party studios and a lot of talented ones at that. I mean, they now have Obsidian Entertainment, they have Ninja Theory, Playground Games, Rare, Turn 10, Undead Labs, Bethesda. I mean, with Bethesda, you have Tango Gameworks, Arcane, id Software, Machine Games. I mean, they have a lot of really talented studios. So, yeah, I think they're going to produce a lot of games this generation. But interestingly enough, according to Jez Corden, they've only revealed a third of what they have in store. Now, Jez Corden has been a pretty reliable source in the past, especially when it comes to Xbox-related content. And yeah, let's just go and check out exactly what he had to say. I would say out of the games I know, and there's games that I don't know about, because I don't know anything that Bethesda's working on generally. I don't know about the Hideo Kojima game Jeff Grubb spoke about, and I've also heard about some other games that aren't in the roadmap that I've seen. So as a complete ballpark estimate, and this is a conservative low estimate, I'd say about a third of the games have been announced from Xbox Game Studios right now. So there you have it. According to Jez Corden, they've only revealed a third of what they're working on, which means they have a lot of games in development. I mean, here's some of the games that they have announced, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably missing a couple here, but they have Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, State of Decay 3, Avowed, Perfect Dark, Everwild, Age of Empires 4, Hellblade 2, Outer Worlds 2, Forza Motorsports, Redfall, Starfield, Contraband, Project Mara, and also Indiana Jones. I mean, that is 15 different games, and if that's only a third of the games, well, they still have 30 other games in development. That is absolutely insane. And again, this is why I've said before, don't underestimate Xbox this generation. This isn't going to be another Xbox One debacle where they just don't have a lot of first-party support. Not only do they have a lot of studios that's working on a lot of different games, but they also have a lot of talent this generation. And we're already starting to kind of see that. They just released Flight Simulator, which is an astounding simulation experience. Psychonauts 2 is a legitimate Game of the Year candidate. All of the impressions that are coming out right now for Forza Horizon 5 is just absolutely glowing because Playground Games is just a fantastic overall studio. Deathloop was handled by Arcane Studios, and guess what? That's another legitimate Game of the Year candidate. So you are seeing already that they do have a lot of talent. They can produce really good games this generation. So once again, don't sleep on Xbox this generation. The Xbox Series is a good console. They have a lot of studios with a lot of talent. They also have Xbox Game Pass. And that's one of the cool things about knowing that they have so many games in development because, well, all of those games will be releasing into Xbox Game Pass day one. You just have to love Xbox Game Pass. I really do think that this is just going to be a great generation for all gamers, regardless of what platform you play on. No, Nintendo is just absolutely beasting it with the Nintendo Switch. We'll actually talk about that here in just a moment. Then, of course, you have PlayStation, which they always do a good job with their first-party studios, and I do think that they've done a good job with that so far with the PlayStation 5. And the Xbox is definitely on their way of having a big generation as well. So gamers, just kind of rejoice because this is a new golden era. Speaking of Nintendo, though, let's actually talk about them as well because Metroid Dread did release last week, and one of the big topics this entire year has been about how much this game is going to sell. A lot of people do believe this will become the best-selling Metroid game of all time, and I firmly do believe that will be the case. And, well, the good news here is that it's definitely gotten off to a very fast start. Yeah, actually, over in the UK, it appears that Metroid Dread is now the fastest-selling Metroid game of all time. We did get an update by GFK where they revealed that it is the second fastest-selling in terms of physical sales, only selling less than 1,000 units compared to Metroid Prime that released on the GameCube. But the thing about this is that that doesn't actually include digital. And with the rise of digital, it has easily surpassed Metroid Prime. It's hard to tell exactly how much it's sold digital, but yes, digital is a big thing now, so this is easily the fastest selling Metroid game ever or at least when it comes to the UK. Now, we still got to see other regions. We got to see how well this does in the United States. We got to see how well it does in Japan, though we probably will get more information about that later this week with the Famitsu chart. But yeah, this is definitely a really good start with Metroid Prime. And from everything that I've been hearing, Metroid Dread is just an overall excellent game. Unfortunately, I haven't really gotten to play it myself yet. I did get the special edition alongside the Nintendo Switch OLED, and when I get the chance, I'm sure I absolutely will like it. It does look like it's an excellent overall game, and I just love the Metroid franchise in general. I just love the Metroidvania genre as a whole. It really is one of my favorite genres out there. But in order for this game to sell more than any other Metroid game, we do need to see a few things. One, of course, is how well is this going to sell in other regions, but also the longevity when it comes to this game. Is it a game that will sell really well over time? And I do firmly believe that will be the case, as I've kind of pointed out several times in the past. The Metroidvania genre has just kind of exploded in recent years as a whole, and I think with the amount of buzz that this game has been getting, yeah, a lot of people are going to pick it up. We've already been seeing it as more and more people have been jumping into this franchise. A lot of people went back to the Nintendo Wii U just to play some of the old games. A lot of people are also going to eBay to pick up some of the physical editions as well to just kind of experience the Metroid franchise before playing Metroid Dread. And actually, I do recommend doing that myself because I think it quietly does have a really interesting story if you do play all of the games. And these games have aged incredibly well. They really have, so if you do ever get the chance to play some of the old Metroid games, I highly would recommend them. Regardless, really happy to see Metroid Dread get off to such a fast start, and of course we will continue to keep an eye on this entire situation as we move forward. If you have been playing Metroid Dread though, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts about this game in the comments below. Is it the Metroid game that you've always dreamt of or not? Let me know in the comments below. Now, we do have one more thing to go over today, as it looks like that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake rumor that has been going around might actually have something to it. Yes, there was a big rumor going around that Metal Gear Solid 3 is in development over by Konami and is being handled by Virtuous Studios. This is according to Video Game Chronicles, which I think does an excellent job with this type of stuff. I do think that they're very reputable and they do a good job at digging around, finding information like this. So this already had a pretty solid source, but there's actually something else that happened here that does add more fuel to the fire that might have actually been true after all. So what's happening here is that somebody spotted a LinkedIn profile by the lead programmer over at Virtuous, Ziyang Li. And well, he does list that he's working on an unannounced AAA action adventure game remake. Now, is this all just a coincidence, or is there actually something to this? I mean, according to Video Game Chronicles, they very specifically said that Virtuous Studios was working on a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and then we find this LinkedIn profile which does say that they are working on an unannounced AAA remake. So at the very least, this is definitely going to fan the flames that they are actually working on this game. Now, of course, this is all just a rumor and speculation, so you should probably take it as that, just so if it doesn't happen, you don't just disappoint yourself. Now, for me, I still would prefer a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, though if this is actually true that they are working on a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, I'll still be very, very happy with that. I really do like the Metal Gear Solid franchise a lot, and Metal Gear Solid 3 is a fan favorite for a very good reason. It is just a fantastic overall game, so I'm actually hoping this one is true. Hey, maybe it'll even be that spark plug to get Konami back into the AAA game business. They do have some big franchises, and with all the rumors going around and then possibly bringing back Castlevania with a reimagining, they have some Silent Hills games in development, and they're possibly also remaking Metal Gear Solid. Could Konami possibly be having a big comeback this generation? I certainly hope so, but I guess we'll see. Moving on though, let's go and talk about the poll of the day, where I asked you all, would you be interested in buying Kinect for Xbox Series if they decided to sell it separately? Of course, last week we did talk about how Microsoft, they did revive Kinect, though it was for TV functionality, not necessarily for the Xbox itself. Now, technically it can play some games such as Fruit Ninja, but what if what if Xbox decided to bring back Kinect as a separate peripheral? Would you be interested in? Well, only 21% of you said yes, while 72% of you said no. Now, several of you all in the comments were actually pretty enthusiastic about Kinect just as a whole. It seems like some of you all did really enjoy it. And, for myself, and I said this in the last video, but, I did like it for its entertainment purposes, just when it comes to media. Not so much for the games, as I think it just has a hard time when it comes to hardcore games. Now, if you focus on some of the casual stuff or some of the party games such as Just Dance, it works pretty well for those type of games, though it just struggled when it came to hardcore games. And, well, Xbox is a hardcore device, so that is a pretty tough sell. As Israel Rice did point out, though, they could make it for the small amount of people that do enjoy it, and that actually is a pretty good point. I'm all for more options, but I think the problem here is that Xbox just wants to separate themselves from the Kinect days as much as they possibly can. I think they just don't want to go back to it because they don't want to be ridiculed for TV ever again. They just want to focus on games. And because Kinect is so intertwined with those TV days, they just want to completely separate themselves from Kinect. So that's probably why they just will not return to Kinect anytime in the near future. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.